Hi guys, my name is Nobukumalo. If it's your first time, welcome to my channel, and if you're coming back, welcome back. I hope you guys are doing well. Please remember to click the subscribe button and please remember to click the notification bell so that you are notified each and every time when I upload something. Today, again, I have another special guest. I think I'm really enjoying telling stories, not only my stories of how dumb I can be sometimes, but stories of the incredible women that I have in my life that I believe have a story to share with the world and that I believe can inspire or educate people in one way or the other. And so today I have my friend Ivy, a very, very good and close friend of mine. We went to high school together and now we're like doing life, far away from each other, but she's one of the few people who is back. And before we go into what we're talking about today, I'm just going to say hi and ask her to introduce herself briefly, the way that she wants to introduce herself. Hi, Ivy.
Hey Nobu, and hey everybody. My
How are
name
you?
is I'm all right. I hope you're good too.
I'm good too, thanks.
So my name is Ivy, like Nobu has said, and other people prefer to call me Dr. Ivy, but I'm Ivy, and I'm currently residing in Russia, but I'm a Zimbabwean, proudly Zimbabwean.
Great. Cool. So, like I said earlier, Ivy and I went to high school together. And for some of you might not know, I was actually also a sciences kid. We did sciences all the way up to A level. We did our maths, biochemistry. And then I decided to ditch that. This is not the story about me, but I'm just painting a picture. I decided to ditch that and completely ditch sciences and go the low route. And she, on the other hand, decided to stick with the pure sciences route. So, Ivy, tell us about your journey after A level. I don't know if you've been dreaming about this career path that you want to take, or if it's something that came to your mind during your A levels and then you decided to pursue it. But just talk us through A level, you finish A level and you decide, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and then take us through how you get started.
Okay. So I think being a doctor has always been my dream since childhood. Or maybe I guess everyone wanted to be a doctor. You know how and I remember in high school we all used to have our lab coats written doctor this and stuff. So I don't think I've had any other dream outside medicine, or let's just say the medical field. So I took up sciences in O level, and I took up sciences in A level as well, so that I could get into medicine. But unfortunately, or rather fortunately, I didn't get enough points to actually qualify into medicine in Zimbabwe. And at that time, I think we only had two functional medical universities, that was UZ and NAST. And my points, guys, anyway, it's not a secret anymore because Oxalayo, I'm a doctor. I had 5 points.
Okay.
I had 5 points at A level, and that's a no. You can't even get into pharmacy or even physiotherapy. I think the least I could get at UZ in sciences was maybe biological sciences or something, to become a biology teacher. I was like, no. So, God works in miraculous ways, because abroad they use your O levels to enroll you into university, because with most countries like Botswana, South Africa, they don't really do level, so they just apply with their O's. So that was the lucky door I had. So I could apply with my O levels, and I applied in South America. So
yeah. And how do you get to know about South America? Like, do you look on the map and just think, or do you Google medical universities anywhere in the world? Then you pick book. Like, how do you get to South America?
So for me, in my A levels, I already had a plan of what I wanted in my life. So it was doctor. If it was not doctor first, it was anything in the health sciences that could get me to doctor eventually. So at first I was actually applying in North America, and I had gotten a place at Southwestern Adventist University to do med lab sciences. So after I had applied, gotten a place, I was still in upper 6 at that point. My dad came for visiting, and his friend's son was studying in Guyana. So my dad comes up with this school of his, Texile American University. My friend's son is studying there, and it's a very good university. It's new, and it's actually cheaper than the one you want to go to. And there they have medicine, so you can actually go into medicine. then boom, I was like, that's it, jackpot. I went to South America and I thought it was like North America. That's a story for another day. I was disappointed, but at least I was doing what I wanted to do.
Oh, you were in America. You were not.
Yes, I was in America and doing medicine for that matter.
Exactly.
So yeah. So I was in Guyana for a year. I was doing so the American system, they have pre-med and then med. So with pre-med, basically you are repeating the basic sciences, chemistry, biology, and additional other subjects like anatomy and stuff. But basically you're repeating your A-level, which I think if I'm to tell anybody right now who wants to study medicine abroad, just use your A-levels and go. Don't waste your time, unless you want to grow, of course.
O-level.
Yeah. Yeah, the A-levels, guys, just, it's for growing at boarding school.
So you would say that like A-levels, if you're planning to study primarily maybe in Africa, I think in the UK, I'm not sure about the UK, but I think the UK, they are.
It's the same. It's the same, actually. Even in the UK, you can use your O's. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a tip for
programs.
someone who's watching this out there or has a little brother or little sister who wants to become a medical doctor. If they get amazing O-level results, if the funds are there to send them there immediately, just send them there.
Go
then they can
immediately.
become a doctor at younger age than their peers, hopefully.
And it's actually better because you graduate at 24, 25, not at 27, guys.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so in Guyana, I did my pre-med and I finished my pre-med. The program in Guyana was 5.5 years. So 1 year of pre-med. So you start getting other subjects, of course, not just chemistry and stuff. But the tuition was very expensive. My dad got laid off during that time. And a lot of other reasons, like everything was just a mess. And I had to return back home, guys. Okay. So that was a tragedy on its own. I had to go back home after a year. And mind you, going back home is not like I had another plan B. It was going back home, like literally. So that just meant that my career was dead. Like that was the end of the dream. But when I went home, I actually spent half a year. Okay. So I was trying
half a year is a lot, man. I mean,
it's a lot.
I think you've probably been thinking about. Yeah, and you're thinking about and you're probably thinking, if I was still back there, I would be here by now. I would be looking forward to this. And then maybe your peers, because remember, everyone else maybe that you went studied with is in uni, right? So it's like at home.
Yeah, the most painful, right? The most painful part is I went to uni in March. And most people that went to study in South Africa and other countries, they went in August. So I was one of the first people to go to uni. So, people took me to the airport and I was one of the first people to actually go to uni. And now I'm back in Zim and they have gone to uni and I'm just like, okay, guys, but then I stayed at home. I tried to do some volunteering stuff with ADRA and all these other things, just to feel like I'm doing something, because depression is one thing that can just eat you up. Yeah.
Amazing. And I was going to ask that, like, is it not depressing when this thing that you've wanted for so long, you got it and then it feels like it slips through your fingers and you don't have a plan? And I think it's good that you say that you try to keep yourself busy, because I find that, well, I'm not going to claim that I've ever been depressed or anything. I don't think so. But I find that sometimes when you sit with your feelings for too long and sit with your disappointment and your stress for too long, and do nothing, like you sink into a deeper and deeper hole, and it becomes harder to like pull you out of it, right? So it looks to me like doing something, just being busy, keeping yourself busy doing something is one way to make sure that you kind of keep that spark of hope alive somewhere in you.
Yeah, with me, I think what actually helped is, like, for me, I didn't believe the dream was dead. I just felt like, okay, fine, this has happened, but I'm going to do something. But, a cloud of doubt will come here and then you're like, okay, what if I just go to use it and do the biological sciences, when you're left with no options? Because at that point, when I went home, I thought I was actually going to go to Canada. Okay. And then I got home and my father was like, there's nothing in the bank. Like, all the 30,000 we sent you to Guyana with, like, it's gone. I don't have a job and that's it. So that meant that no uni, or you just try and do something. So fortunately, I got in touch with a cousin of mine. She's actually now a doctor in the UK. She studied in Russia, and that year she was actually completing her studies. So as we were just talking, she was like, why don't you come? Why doesn't she was talking to my dad? She was like, why doesn't she come to Russia And from the sound of that, I was just like, Russia is one of those countries, like nobody wants to go to China, Russia, you know, those funny countries. Because for me, it has always been the Canadas, Australias, you know. But then I didn't have a choice at that point, and anything that would come up, really, I would take it up. So I now had options. My dad was like, okay, we can afford Russia, China, or Malaysia. And you know how in Zimbabwe, people talk about how the fake degrees, China, Russia, and what. But, you know, since she was there and she could literally just talk to me about it and tell me, you know, medicine is the same everywhere. It was more like a pep talk for me to actually just feel comfortable in applying for a degree in Russia.
I love what you say, that you know, sometimes you have this big plan about how you want your life to work out, right? But and the path to that point can look nothing like what you envisioned it to be like. And you have two options, which is like to try and force to take the path that you always dreamt of, or to say, okay, fine, I'm gonna have to readjust a few things here and there, but as long as it gets me to where I want to go, I'm going to take that path. And I think sometimes it takes a certain of humbling yourself and letting go of the pride of, you know, oh, she had to go this route to end up there. As long as you know in and of yourself what you're trying to achieve, I think it's important to be able to shift, you know, your perspective and to readjust your plans and do whatever it takes to end up where you've always wanted to be. And I think I really respect you going to Russia, even though like you said, you had always thought, who goes to Russia, you know? But you had a dream. You had a dream, and you could either let go of the dream or do whatever it takes, you know. So you decide Russia, that's it, and then you land in Russia, and then tell us about your journey there in Russia.
All right, so I came to Russia in September 2015, and the thing is, Russia and South America have different learning systems. So instead of doing a transfer, I actually had to start afresh. So this is me studying medicine afresh after, So I started from scratch, and now with Guyana, the program was 5.5. With Russia, it was 6 years.
Oh God. And you can't even credit the one.
You can't even take your credits. And I had distinctions in Guyana because I was a serious student then. Not that I'm not, but you know. And, you know, I had to start afresh. And the most, not depressing, but the most uncomfortable thing is you are getting into class, like I said, with all-level students who are just coming from their countries and they're 16 and you're already 21. And they're like, are you doing your second degree? And you're like, guys.
And you're like, no, guys, so, this is it.
And already I was tired. You know, first year uni, you're excited and everything. I was already tired. And after going through this experience as well, I was just a tired kid. So all those other students were like hyped up into medicine and everything. And I was just like, let's just go with it. And, let the degree just finish. So there were a lot of challenges, like in medical school, not just the school itself. I had, you know, financial problems, like I said, from the beginning. And I think in my second year, I had to take up work to actually fund my studies. So I started teaching English because Russia is a non-English speaking country. So the only opportunity actually as a foreigner that you can get is to teach English, because you can't do the other jobs. You can't speak the language. So it actually started as a joke. Then I started teaching. So I know people say that when you're in med school, you can't do anything else. I had to, like, circumstances will force you to just wear that, you know, big girl cap and just do it. So I started teaching and doing medicine simultaneously. It was very, very difficult. That at some points, I really thought I wasn't going to make it. Like literally, you'd be having an exam, you have work, fees is wanted, and this is happening. So I thank God that eventually in June 2021, I made it. I got my degree. And with the help of with people's prayers, and my classmates were helping a lot, you know, assignments and stuff. But I made it. But then that was not the end.
So you've made it finally. I'm sure, like, this is like the culmination of the dream that has been brewing for all these years. You're finally here, like, yes, I'm finally a doctor. And you're ready to hit the ground running. And then
actually, let me take you back a bit. By the time I graduated, the stress had already struck in. I think the beginning of my final year, reality started to strike in. So when you're in your final year, you're starting to prepare for your career, right? So you're there, you're Googling, steps after post-grad things, you're asking your people that graduated before you and stuff like that. So guys, nobody tells you about life after medicine. We just think when you enter medicine, we're like, okay, I'm a doctor. We even started calling ourselves doctors in first year. If only we knew.
Why not?
If only we knew. So nobody tells you about the whole process of after graduation, their exams to write, board exams. Okay, fine. You just think it's just an exam like in med school, but it's actually different because every country has their own requirements, their own system of doing things, which is quite complicated. You actually have to prove that you studied medicine at a reputable university. Can you believe that? Like, I literally have to apply to an American board to check my degree if it's valid, and then they will tell whatever board I'm applying to that, okay, your degree is valid, and that whole process is just exhausting. So nobody tells you about how the post-grad journey is actually more painful than the med school journey itself, to be honest. So I looked at life and I realized that I had slim chances of having my plans actually come out the way I had envisioned them. Yeah, so just as a backup plan. Yeah, and what also happened is, like, the COVID happened in 2020. That was the year before my graduation. So the future was really uncertain because a lot of countries had closed and I had dreams of going to another country to practice and stuff. So it was a stage where you're not sure of anything, like anything could happen. So as a first emergency precaution I applied for a permit to stay in Russia, which took me 10 months, by the way.
But you're allowed to stay in Russia whilst you're waiting for the permit.
My student visa was still valid up until let's say June, July, and so I applied for a permit.
I think just to hold you, I think that's a very important point that you're making. That as a student, especially if you're studying abroad, if you're not studying in your home country, right? Your the year just before you finish your final year, start thinking about what life is going to be like. Don't wait for a month before you finish or for when you graduate. Like, start thinking about, what do I want to do? If I want to stay in this place, how do I make sure that I'm able to stay in this place, beyond graduation? I think if you're just not in your home country, you just always need to be thinking one step forward. You can't take each day as it comes. You need to kind of always structure your life and make sure that you're thinking a step further and a step further. Continue. So you got your 10 months. It took you 10 months to get a permit that allowed you.
So my permit was not out by the time I graduated, which was another scaring thing again, because my visa was going to expire, I think, a month after graduation, which means I had to be out of the country. But so I applied for this permit with the hopes that, so the plan was, I applied for the permit just to buy a few more months while I put things in order and actually eventually fly out. No one was planning to stay in Russia. I mean, to do what? But, I made a lot of applications in different places for, anything and everything. But when by the time I graduated, I actually realized that, my plans are not feasible. First of all, looking at the bank account, it was just saying, sis, where are you going to do what? So I had two options. Either I was just going to go home and go with the Zimbabwean plan of writing exams and stuff, which is the most difficult part because the people that had graduated a year before me were still sitting at home. They hadn't written exams. So if I had taken that route, probably by now, this is a year later, I could have been still waiting to write board exams. So for me, that was not my portion. I'm sorry. And Zim was never on my list, to be honest. I know God works in ways that, I might never say never, but for me, really,
I feel you, sis. I feel you. I feel you. So now,
right before I graduated, I got a job offer in Moscow to work full time as a teacher. So this was a moment where I had to sit down and really decide and say, okay, I want to be a doctor. I don't want the dream to die, but at the same time, I have to be realistic about the situation. There's no money. I don't even feel competent enough to go and write exams right now in any country to pass them and, start doing residency, internship, whatever it is. So I could lie to myself, get comfortable with the title, go home and call myself doctor and fail exams. or get stuck at home, or I could actually buy myself more time, take a career detour, do something else while I actually work out another plan. So this is the plan I ended up going with, and the hardest
So you're
part.
teaching now. You're teaching English. Is it English?
Yeah, currently I'm teaching. I'm a full-time English tutor, certified, by the way, guys.
You know, it's amazing. So I because I know you are, I know you want to be a doctor, but when I'm looking at your posts, you with your kids and all that, like I can't help it. I feel like you still look fulfilled in one way or the other. And maybe it's just an illusion, but to me, whenever I look at you, I'm like, you know, you can have this bigger purpose that you have and that you're working towards, and that should never die because you feel and you know that this is what you're created for. But in the season where it's currently not possible for whatever reason to fulfill your purpose, you can still find another purpose, you know,
That's true.
That you can channel yourself into and you know, and really give yourself to, and allow it also to give you what it has to offer. Because I feel like, especially with detours, people like will take the detour, do a half-baked job, because to them, you know, they're just focused on that thing, so they don't even fully, you know, give themselves over to it. They just do a half-baked job because to them this is just a temporary thing. But when I look at how you're doing this teaching thing, I see someone who's giving her all, and it looks like it's giving you some meaning, and you know, just talk us through that. Like, what has teaching taught you? I finding it fulfilling, and how do you think it will feed into the future you, that the doctor that I want to be one day?
All right, so that's a very, you know, good question. My mom was a teacher. Now she's retired. My mom was a teacher, and looking at her profession, I never wanted to be her. Like, for me, teaching was low class. I'm sorry, mom.
Yeah, you're speaking. Yeah.
So for me, teaching was not, even my mom didn't want me to be a teacher.
I was about to say that, you know, I know you say it that way, but even my mom is a teacher, and I'm pretty sure she did not want.
She didn't want me to be a teacher. But you know, this side, teaching is a different case. I think Zimbabwe has just made us to feel like teaching is a low-class job, but here it's actually a high-class thing. Yeah, actually. So since I mentioned that I started teaching for tuition, right? It wasn't something I really wanted, and I didn't know that I actually loved it. But through circumstances forced me to teach. And through the teaching, I actually realized that it was a passion, and it was, for me, it was an inborn thing. I actually didn't know. All I knew is that I loved kids, right? So I loved kids, but I never thought that I loved teaching. And English was my weakest point, because my dad used to actually mock me and say, you know, your English in the whole family, I think I had the worst English. So I started realizing that I actually enjoyed being around kids and teaching them and everything. So it was more like now a hobby was being kind of fulfilled in trying to find money. And also the money was good enough to sustain me. So there was a balance. And the interesting thing is, actually during my interview for the job that I was coming to work for in Moscow, they asked me a question, and they said, what link is there between medicine and teaching? And, you know, when I thought through that question, I actually saw that, you know, with teaching and medicine, first thing, the similarities, you're dealing with people, one. Two, you always expect an end result. As a doctor, when you treat a patient, you want to see them getting well. With a student, when you teach them, you want to see them, you know, passing and getting to speak the language, especially with languages, right? So there's a sort of like fulfillment in seeing your effort being repaid or being rewarded, you know. So that was one thing that I was happy about. So there was kind of a connection, and because my future area of interest is also pediatrics, which is about kids and teaching kids, you know, everything was just merging, you know. And yeah, so I took up the teaching career temporarily to raise funds and to just get me more time to rest from medical school, and also think of plan B and stuff like that. So you mentioned that I look fulfilled when I'm doing the teaching thing. One thing I learned about, you know, career detours is that it doesn't have to be something that stresses you out to think that the career is dead. Like I said, for me, the dream never ends. Like even up to now, I'm teaching and I'm happy with teaching, but I know teaching is not my end goal. You know, if I'm to have two careers, I can have them, but I'm still chasing the medical career. So so it was a matter of just reframing the situation to know that at the end of the day, career is not the ultimate goal of life. We've got family to take care of. So if you have
Yes.
to, if you have to do something to
Do
sustain
something.
yourself, to come up with another plan, then you have to, especially with the pandemic and the Ukrainian Russian wars going on and all that
Yeah.
was going on. I mean,
Yeah.
it only made sense for me to re-strategize the plan. So the dream is not dead. It's actually
It's
there.
not dead.
And I'm enjoying teaching, and with teaching also, I'm happy that I've actually grown to discover new skills. And yeah, I'm a certified tutor to do a course for teaching, and here and there I'm going for training, and there's child development, which is also a branch in medicine. I do child development, child psychology. So all this is like connected to my profession.
Working
Yeah. So it's really not a waste. I just feel like it was actually something I needed to carry me to the next level. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful story, and it's a journey, like you're saying, and
it's painful
tough
though.
one for
it's
you.
painful. Acceptance.
Yeah, it's I know it must be very, very painful, especially I'm sure when you look back, when you get to a point where even now with the teaching, it's not a waste and you're learning all these things, but I'm sure once in a while it kind of hits you that
it
here
does.
goes another month and I'm not yet there, right? But I guess like every day is a step closer. And thank you so much for coming to share your story. I know there's a lot of people who have dreams, who have that thing that they've always wanted to be, but it's not working out. And I like that you keep saying that the dream is not dead. But life career is not it all. I have family, I have responsibilities, I have things that I need to do, but you keep the faith and the hope that the dream is going to come alive one day. And I think you've been dropping nuggets of wisdom the whole entire time. But just quickly, in short, do you have anything to say to someone whose dream is not working out the way that they wanted to? Just short words of encouragement, and just something to just tell someone out there that what, just keep going.
All right. So one of the hardest things is acceptance. When you have planned your life in such a way that this is going to work, or you look at someone's life who did the same thing and you're like, I'm just going to follow the same path. And for you, it's a different story. It's hard, first of all, to accept. So acceptance for yourself is the first thing. Then you have people around you, your parents, telling them, okay, guys, I'm not coming home. I'm now Russian. It's another story. Your friends also, and there's pressure from everywhere, people calling you, why don't you try this, why don't you try that, why are you not applying there, this girl went there, just do it. But people don't understand your situation the way you do. So one thing, after you accept, look at your situation and really be realistic with yourself. You could do it for the cloud, so for the name, to say, okay, after all, they call me doctor, and go home and do whatever. But at the end of the day, really where you stand and how you want eventually your plans to turn out. So humility, you have to humble yourself really to go the other route. Because being called a teacher when you're actually a doctor, every time I'm at work and they're like, you're actually a doctor, why are you here? Just go, I enjoy it, I like it. I'm here for fun, but that's not the reality, right? So that's one thing. And also, while you are waiting for the greater plan or the bigger plan that you have, you also have to remember that life does not end there. Find something to build your skill in connection with the bigger goal. And a career detour doesn't necessarily mean you have to put the career totally on hold, because one thing I forgot to mention about medicine, if you stay 2 years out of practice from your day of graduation, your degree becomes invalid, so you have to go back to med school. So I'm 1 year down, I'm left with another year. So I came up with a plan for me to explain my absence in medicine for the 2 years. I actually had to start a master's program in public health, by the way. Yeah. So I'm also doing public health online. And so that after all these years I'm wasting, I can be able to explain what I was doing, and at least with public health, it's connected to medicine. So while you wait, develop your skills, dig deep into other opportunities to develop yourself, to become better as you try to reach that goal. And the most important thing, don't let the dream die. Circumstances may come and, life might take a different turn, but career detours, there's nothing embarrassing about them. And sometimes God allows actually to build you as a person before he takes you to the next level. So that's all I can say, that it's very, very normal to take a career detour.
Yeah.
And just embrace it. Don't even do it with a bitter heart and stuff. Embrace it, trust the process, and yeah, you will
Don't
make
let
it.
the dream die.
Yeah, don't let the dream die.
Thank you, thank you, thank you again. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it, and I love you so much. And I wish, I wish you the best going forward. And I know that one day you're going to step into a hospital and really practice and fulfill the purpose that you were called to fulfill in life. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please share it with someone. So it doesn't have to be someone who wants to become a doctor, but anyone who is in that space in life where things are not really going the way that they always envisioned they would go. Please share with them, and please please comment in the comment section. Ivy is going to respond also to your comments if you have anything to ask or share about the journey. And bigger than anything, please subscribe and help us to reach 1,000 subscribers, which we're almost there. Have a good week. I wish you all the best for the rest of the week, and I'll see you guys again next time. Goodbye.